West Point, well known as a military academy where men and women go to become career officers in the United States Army. As a national monument, many of West Point's images have become familiar to us. There's the chapel on the hill, Army versus Navy, and Notre Dame, and Stanford. There's a clock on the quadrangle. There's the cadet dining hall, orientation for newcomers, military training. There's the full dress parade, flirtation walk, and hats in the air on graduation.
We know it as a place of tradition and of a mystique that has touched the lives of historic figures. George S. Patton, Douglas MacArthur, Dwight Eisenhower have gone there. Past generations have left their mark at the Argonne Forest, at Normandy, at Bastogne, Sicily, North Africa, the Philippines, Korea, Southeast Asia.
The long gray line, duty, honor, country. These are some of the images we've come to associate with West Point. But what is the Academy's relationship to the present, to a world grown more complex and confusing? One that demands uncommon qualifications from people planning to play a purposeful role in its future. Just what is West Point today? And how does it relate to the process of preparing for a career as a professional Army officer?
Given this situation, what kind of scenario would you propose?
What if we can put that memory capacity of 10,000 characters on an integrated circuit?
The final proof of any theory is the prediction of experimental results.
You have supported your position with appropriate citations of American case law precedent.
Paul Gauguin, Impressionist, Classicist.
What about stress analysis, the dynamics of heat transfer?
Realpolitik or idealism? Power or morality? Which is it?
And so we come to Freud and Marx and Einstein.
I wasn't entirely sure why I wanted to come here. I'd been told West Point ranked 4th in Rhodes Scholarships awarded, after Harvard, Yale, and Princeton. But that wasn't it. I had the feeling I would discover here what I could do well. It was awesome coming up against what I told myself I was going to do, and here I was doing it. I don't feel it would have meant the same to go somewhere else.
There's no mistaking the transition is tough, very tough. From the first day, there are incredibly high demands.
West Point is not for everyone.
I still have a high respect for West Point, but it's not for me. I couldn't stand the regimentation. Too restrictive.
I think it's true. There are a few here who probably don't think we should be here. You just have to keep a sense of humor and try a little harder.
CBT, Cadet Basic Training for Men and Women. Historically also known as Beast Barracks. A difficult time, no denying it. But in a way, an essential indoctrination to the standards cadets are expected to live up to at West Point and beyond, to set a pattern of personal excellence to serve as a foundation for a military career. It is a value essential to the profession of arms.
There were times I wasn't at all certain I'd get through it. Looking back, I wouldn't trade the experience.
I would pass this along. Get a head start. Before leaving home to come here, get in shape. Lift weights, swim, run. Don't sit back and celebrate the fact you've been accepted.
I never ran so much, concentrated so hard, tried so much, or felt as big a sense of achievement in anything I'd ever done before.
You have to say it isn't for everyone. Some great people have come here and taken a shot at it and then decided, well, just wasn't for them.
My quitting had nothing to do with the difficulty of the work. I just realized that the military wasn't what I wanted to do with my life.
New people. Among the very top of the nation's high school graduates. Plebes, they call them, or fourth-classmen, or members of the class of whatever year it is 4 years from now. here to measure themselves against themselves and to give West Point an opportunity to reconfirm its judgment in the selections it made.
If logic were a matter of opinion, we'd have a very illogical world, which, in fact, we do. But it isn't illogical because of logic, you see? Because logic is a study and not a belief. Now, does anyone find that illogical?
B follows A when we go forward, not because we took a vote on it, but because it is unreasonable to suggest otherwise. Now, I want you to bear this in mind, no matter if you're caught in a problem in math or staring at an engineering principle, and even when you're looking at the social sciences or humanities.
I had already been accepted here when somebody asked me what degree I was going to go for. I've since learned that the academic program here consists of 40 courses that ultimately lead to a Bachelor of Science degree.
Now, what this means when you break it down is that all cadets have to complete a core program. Beyond that, the cadet has to select an area of concentration in which to focus remaining courses. And these include basic science, applied science and engineering, the humanities, and national security and public affairs. Electives are sequenced to ensure a progression of study that will take the cadet to even higher levels of sophistication, leading to a degree of Bachelor of Science. If we take an overview of the entire academic program, it is one that will provide a well-rounded basis for intellectual and professional development, not just at West Point, but for life. Personality and adjustment, languages, data control and information retrieval, macroeconomics, ethics and leadership, literature, statistical probability, microscopy, analysis in organic chemistry, shaping three-dimensional structures to teach a theory, searching for questions that may suggest an answer.
I think that the emphasis that's been placed on the hands-on concept of instruction is first-rate. Theories are taken off the blackboard and fed into real-life situations. It shrinks the distance and makes it an experience.
The competition for scholastic honors is keen. Cadets must, of course, test themselves against academy standards as well as against their own personal objectives. Exams, though competitive, are administered in an almost ivory tower setting, where nowhere at West Point is underhanded competition permitted. Students work together with the faculty here to enforce the standards set by West Point's long-cherished honor code, which states simply that a cadet will not lie, cheat, or steal, nor tolerate those who do. And it must be so without exception, and particularly so in the military, for lives may rely on the premise that a person's word will be as good as his or her bond.
Upon the fields of friendly strife are sown the seeds that upon other fields, on other days, will bear the fruits of victory. General MacArthur said that, and at West Point we take it pretty seriously. If you are not on an intercollegiate team, then you are on a club or intramural team. Every cadet is an athlete, some better than others, but no advisors or spectators.
Military training, most intensive during the summers at the academy, is pursued throughout the 4-year stay.
If you're going to be an officer, you have to know the application of some of the things that go on in a classroom. In an imperfect world, assuming you're a realist, you've got to know how to deal with every eventuality. After all, that's what West Point has always been here for.
I think it became clear to me somewhere between wet feet and cold coffee that I'd never become wealthy as an Army officer. But I would also avoid the frustration of irrelevance. I'd have the chance to be of service to the concepts and the nation I believe in.
The officers can be tough on you, but they can also be understanding. I found when I was confused or uncertain or just plain wiped out, I could discuss it with them, get it all sorted out, and take off again. It was a collaboration.
Before it's all over, every cadet, man and woman, will have gone to at least one special school. So in every graduating class, there'll be some who will have gone through jungle warfare school. All will have served at least a month as platoon leaders in active Army units somewhere in the world, or trudged across Arctic glaciers in Northern Warfare School, won airborne wings, or soloed in a training helicopter. Some will have taken Ranger training.
Duty, honor, country says what I felt when I wanted to come here. I'm not embarrassed to say I still feel it. Only the words have begun to look taller. I'd like to be sure I'll measure up.
What is West Point? It's a continuity of a tradition, a place where it's possible to qualify for the profession of arms. It's an environment where men and women can achieve an excellence beyond most expectations and beyond a career.